Hey everybody and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. So there's only really one more perk to go over from the changes because we've gone over save and we've gone over quick gambit. So today we're going to talk about Grim Embrace. So the Grim Embrace change I think was a good one, and one I think is going to be very healthy for the game. I hope. There are some concerns and I'll get to those in a minute. But let's just talk about the idea of regression versus blocking versus slowdown in this game. So those are basically the three forms of slowdown, quote unquote, the killers have. You have regression, which removes progress, which is what things like Scourge Hook and Pop do. I say Scourge Hook, you all know I mean Paint Res. And then there's slowdown, things like Thanatophobia that just straight up slow down how fast you do something. Then there's gen blocking, such as Deadman Switch, Grim Embrace, Deadlocked, that just stop the gen from being able to be touched by both sides. Now, personally speaking, and from a lot of people I've talked to, that is the method a lot of people prefer as slowdown in this game, because the problem with regression, not only from a gameplay perspective, but also from a psychology one, is the idea that you're losing progress that you have to get back can feel very, very frustrating, especially if it happens multiple times. You got that gen to 99%, you come back and now it's at 50. That's, yeah. There goes all your hard work, you got to do it all over again. Slowdown, also from a psychology perspective and just from a general gameplay thing, the gen speeds need to be where they are. This is the thing I've said before. I don't think gen should take longer necessarily. I think there should be things that don't make them take faster. Cough, cough, hyper focus, and prove thyself, and toolboxes. But I do think that the 90-second base time is fine. I mean, I lived in an era of playing this game where it was 80 seconds, so let that sink in. But yeah, 90 seconds I think is fine. I think if you make it too long, because the objective of doing generators in the Survivor End is, one, it's their objective, and two, it's supposed to pace the game out, which is why tunneling can feel so unhealthy, because there's no moment of rest after the chase. That's a whole game design docket thing I won't get into. But I think blocking, though, you're not getting rid of your progress. You're not slowing it down directly. You're just kind of putting a timeout. I'm going to steal that from the Mr. Headache or Bran, as some of you know him. Yeah, you're just putting a timeout on the gen. Now, you could argue doing it with something like Grim Embrace is going to be very frustrating because it's all the gens, but it also discourages the killer from camping because they have to get at least 16 meters away. Now, the argument can be made, oh, well, they'll just proxy camp. That's true, but I really don't think there's any way for them to stop that. Just saying. I don't care how many buffs or nerfs we do to the camping system. I think proxy camping is one of those things that's just always going to exist, and there's not really a good solution. There just isn't. Because if you make the range for the camping indicator too far, then we had a situation like when it first came out, and people are just getting unhooked even though the killer was nowhere near the hook. At least they didn't think they were. Uh, anyways, yeah, I think the new Grim Embrace buff is going to be great. I actually think it's probably going to be meta as well. I really do think gen blocking is going to become the new meta, apart from regression. Regression, I think, will be less reliable, but more impactful. It'll be more risk and reward versus gen blocking. Gen blocking is just automatic reliability. If you run Grim Embrace, Deadlock, Thrilling Tremors, by the way, I keep saying this, but run Thrilling Tremors. It's a great information perk. On top of some other gen blocking perks, like you can basically block the gens for upwards of 3 minutes. You can save yourself 3 minutes. So if you run those three and then you run Nowhere to Hide, or not Nowhere to Hide, No Way Out, and that saves you another 40 seconds or so. Yeah, it's insane. Like, you have bought yourself so much time as killer. That's why I really do think this is going to be really good. Now, Grim Embrace does still have its problems, but I think this one change is going to make it really good and just not a bad perk. Now, what are some issues with it other than the proxy camping? Well, it might be too much gen blocking. And apparently it also stacks on top of other gen blocking. So it stacks on top of Deadman Switch, apparently. Which means, in essence, you can block a gen for, like, 12, 16, so we'll go about 25 seconds, which is kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. I mean, Deadlock's 30, and you don't even have to get it, so maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about the new Grim Embrace. I really do think it's going to become meta. I always liked the idea of the original perk, but this is definitely something I can see it making its way into being good. And I think that was the problem with it. A lot of people, including myself, had a very strange, or just simple ideas to just make the time longer, make the aura reading on everybody, all of these other changes. But I mean, honestly, this wasn't a simple change, but it was an interesting one, and I'm here for it. So yeah, that's it. So like and sub and all that stuff. And I know I said I wasn't gonna make a video today, but I just decided to. Listen, there's some IRL stuff going on, and yeah. Anyways, Twitch is down below. I'm not streaming this week because of work stuff, but yeah, you can go ahead and follow that if you want. I want to say thank you again for 650 subs. We just hit that today. That was incredible. A number I never thought I'd see. And yeah, love you guys, and bye.